A midlife crisis is more than just a cultural stereotype. It's a real psychological struggle that can surface between the ages of 40 and 60, often triggered by aging, loss, or unmet expectations. It can lead individuals to question their identity, make impulsive choices, or abruptly abandon long term commitments. While not officially classified as a mental illness, the emotional and relational fallout is very real, especially for the spouses and families left behind. This podcast gives voice to those living through the aftermath, exposing the hidden pain and seeking accountability, healing, and understanding. The stories and events discussed in this podcast are based on our guest experiences and are intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. They should not be considered legal, medical, or professional advice. Any names, locations, or identifying details have been changed to protect privacy. Any similarities to actual persons, living or dead, or real events are purely coincidental. The views and opinions expressed by guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of the host or the podcast creators. Listeners should consult with a qualified professional regarding their own circumstances. Hello, friends. In today's episode, you are going to hear Janie's bomb drop, and you are going to be reminded to follow your intuition, trust your gut instincts, pay attention to red flags, and know that you will get through this. One day sooner than you think, you will actually realize that you are stronger, you are happy, you are peaceful. And we want you to be ready to say yes when fun new opportunities present themselves, because they will. The best is yet ahead. I know it's horrible now when you're going through a bomb drop at whatever stage you're at, but it does get better. And Janie's going to tell us a little about that right here. All right. Hey, everybody. Today I've got Janie who's going to tell us about her bomb drop. It's been several years now, and she's going to take it away. All right. Hi, Janie. Thanks for joining
Hi,
us today.
thanks for having me. I'm excited
Sure.
to tell my story. Well, it's been almost 4 years now. I'm coming up on 4 years. Bomb drop was June 11th. So it'll be four years in June. And I feel sorry I have sympathy for everyone that's new to this. I know how hard it is to be in that place when your world falls apart. Um, and we've been there and we understand what everyone's going through. So, I mean, stay in those groups for support as long as you need it. Um, so I guess I'll start with our marriage. We were married in for 19 years at the time of bomb drop, 18 years at the time of bomb drop, and it was a happy marriage. At least I thought it was. Um, I thought he was happy. I was happy. We had a beautiful home. We had lots of friends. We entertained. It was a good life. He never made me feel like I wasn't loved. He would tuck me in every night and always tell me how much he loved me. So about a month, yeah, he was a sweetheart. But hindsight, I think maybe he was overcompensating for his lifestyle that I didn't know about. But when bomb drop happened about a month earlier, he had gone out to um, a trip with friends that he had gone on yearly. And when he came back, he was acting off. And I mean, I knew him at that point for 30 years of my life because we had dated for 3 years before we got married. And we knew each other for 7 years before we even started dating. So we were friends on top of that. Um, so he came home and he just was acting strange. I kept asking, is there something wrong? You okay? Something happened out on your trip? No, just busy at work. So I got every excuse in the book. And there was just about a month after him giving me excuses, he came home one night and he was at a meeting. And when he came home, he was running kind of late, and something just hit me. And I remember texting him and saying, "Are you going to ask me for a divorce or are you just going to leave me?" I don't know where it came from, but I texted him that. And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And so he got home and he wasn't late that night. It was still early, not about 10 o'clock at night. And he came in and he said, "I'm not happy. And I don't know if I want to be married anymore." And I was just beside myself with shock. Like I couldn't believe what was I hearing from him. This man who was my rock and my best friend, who I had been trying to get to talk to me for the last month, just lays this on me. And I asked him right away, "Is there someone else?" Well, he denied that. That was on a Friday night. By Saturday afternoon, I called my girlfriend pretty much right away. And she said, "Check your phone bill," which I didn't even think to do. So I checked our phone bill, and sure enough, from the phone bill, I figured out who she was. And I knew her. We ran in the same circle, and I knew her husband. And so it was kind of shocking to find out and to see the hundreds and thousands of text messages and the long phone conversations and everything. So he refused to talk to me. That went on for probably about a week. Um, it was hard. I didn't, I couldn't stop crying for a week, and he would didn't care. He was just oblivious to the
So wait,
care.
let's back up. So once you saw the phone bill, and you saw all this, did you present it to him and say, "Hey, what's going on?"
I did. So he was in his man cave, and I went down there and I said, "Whose phone number is this?" "I don't know." I'm like, "Well, it's all over the phone bill. Someone you've been talking to." So, and I knew who it was. I told him, I said, "It's Skankalicious, we'll call her." Um, I said, "It's Skankalicious' phone number. And she was on that trip with you, with your friends. And she was in the picture that your friend posted on Facebook when I asked you, why was she hanging out with you guys if she didn't if she wasn't on your team?" Um, and oh, I don't know. She's from a different town. And I'm like, "No, no, she's not." So he tried to cover his tracks, before I found the phone number. Well, I called her that night and, she hung up, obviously. And I basically screamed in the phone, "Leave my husband alone." And, that's when he just was like, "Oh, the trust is broken. It's over. Now it's over." And that's all he had to say for himself for about a week. And, so because, as women, we wanna research everything, so me and my girlfriend, figured out who her husband was. We were gonna call the husband, and, I made the mistake of giving my husband, um, too much information at the time, and he insisted that they were already going through divorce process, and her husband was a jerk, and, anything he could do to deter me from calling the husband because I had the husband's phone number. Um, so that was in June.
Let me
So
ask you too, I'm just gonna back up, 'cause you said you guys ran in the same circles, or had you actually met her face to face beforehand?
oh, yeah, I had known her for a couple of years. Yes.
Oh, but you had never met her husband?
I did meet her
Never met
husband.
her husband.
I did meet her husband prior to all of this blowing up. He was at an event and, all of us girls are and we were, just a group of girls standing there talking, and when he came in and she was part of that group and we're like, "Oh, who's that hottie?" And, "Oh, that's my husband." So, yeah, he was a very attractive man, and we're all like, "Oh, that's a keeper," you know. You know how women we're married, we're not dead, but that's as far as we would take it.
Yeah.
Um, so, yeah, I knew her. I didn't know her husband very well at the time, um, but I knew her pretty well. So, the fact that, it was her is just, I guess after everything I found out, it's not a surprise. Come to find out, she had 2 previous affairs on her husband prior to having an affair with my husband. Um, I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, but, they were actually in counseling from her second affair to try to save their marriage when she started the affair with my husband. So, but during that summer, he was a drinker, quite a big Bob was quite a big drinker. Um, but he always seemed to have it under control. But after the affair came out, it just turned into he'd get home from work and it went from drinking a few beers to, whiskey, almost a full glass of whiskey. He'd drink till he'd pass out. And he'd wake up and he'd start drinking. It got so horrible. Um, it's like he was just you could see he was drowning himself, and he would say things to me like, "I'm broken and I love you and I don't know what I want and I'm so confused." But then I would catch him staring off into space, playing love songs on the radio and looking like a teenager in heat, for God's sakes. I mean, he would sit there and you could just see the look on his face when he started thinking about her. And I'm like, it was just so disgusting. And I tried to ignore it because I'm just like, okay, we're going to get through this. Let's get into counseling. I don't need counseling. And people just fall out of love. And this is just what happens. But he, he, I remember one specific event from that summer. We had a big fight the night before, and, the next morning, he came up and was telling me how much he loved me, and he choosed our marriage, and he wanted to save us, and he was committed 100% to me. And he was going to a bowling or, he was going to a golfing tournament that day, so he asked me to drop him off, and he'd get a ride home from the guys that he was meeting there. So I drove him down there, and, he didn't come home until very, very late. And when I finally realized I could get access to his Google locator, I found out where he was. And he was at a friend's house in a neighboring town. And I said, "What were you doing at Jill's house?" "Oh, there's a bar right across the street from her house." Well, my therapist was right down there. So I drove past and there's no bar on that street. And I told him that. So he was with her that night, telling me how much he loves me, wants the marriage, but ended up at her place or with her that evening. Um, so that went on for a couple months till August, and then he said that it was over. He ended it with her, and um, he decided to get counseling as well, which I think was I kind of pushed him into it, thinking it would help save the marriage. I think he used the counselor to justify his affair, and to realize that he wanted out of the marriage because people change, is what he told me. People change, but from oh, geez, it must have been from August, September through, December, beginning of December, I thought everything was getting better. He just found a way to hide it better. So, I'd still catch him staring off into space and thinking about her or when he locked his phone down so tight I couldn't get in his phone, but I had the Google GPS, on, so I could tell exactly where he was going. Well, I checked it, and he had spent a morning with her, and I confronted him on that, and he was just there talking to her, just all the thing I mean, now I say these things now, and I'm like, "Well, how could I believe any of this?" But we wanna believe it's our husbands, you know? This is a person I've known for
Well, maybe
30.
he was saying stuff like, "Oh, she's having a rough time with her husband. I'm trying to give her advice."
Well, in the meantime, she had, left her husband and moved closer, to where my house is, so she could be available. So she got an apartment down here and told her husband she needed space to think about what she wanted. They were still in counseling. Um,
Mhm.
so fast forward to the Saturday after Thanksgiving, there's this big event that he would go to every year. And usually I would go shopping and I would stop in and say hi to all these people. Half the people that were at our wedding and are all good friends of ours. No, 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 don't stop. I don't want you there because she's going to be there. She's going to be at this event. Um, so I should have dropped everything and I should have went there. Would it have changed anything? Probably not. So he was making out with her in front of everybody that night. All of our friends, everyone that knew me, that knew him, that knew of our marriage, and everyone was just shocked. And
Wait, how did you find this out?
I didn't find this out until a week later. So that was the Saturday after Thanksgiving. On the following Thursday night, he came home and he told me that he was leaving me to be with her. And I didn't sleep at all that night. He went to work the next day like nothing happened. I called his best friend who was the man, he was the best man at our wedding, and he knew, but he played stupid, and, he said he would talk to
Mhm.
him. I I don't didn't matter at that point. He was leaving. Um, but he told me he needed space and that, he was just gonna go get a hotel for a few weeks and think about what he really wanted. Well, that's not what he did. So the next morning, I knew the address of the apartment. I drove down there the next morning. I had our wedding rings in my car. I had our wedding picture in our car. I found his truck there, and they wouldn't come to the door. They wouldn't answer the door. I sat outside, called, text. He wouldn't come in. So I stopped at his mother's house on the way home and gave everything to her. And I said, I can't do this anymore. I don't know what he's doing. He's with her, and he never came home after that. So about a month after that, I filed for divorce, and he was shocked that I filed so quickly, but, I needed to protect myself. He was Lord knows what kind of money he was spending, um, on her
Mhm.
prior to that. Uh, but he came and got the Saturday that I found him at her house, he came back to our house and grabbed some more of his clothes, and I was beside myself. I mean, I was a puddle of a mess on the floor crying, begging him to rethink what he was doing and what he was throwing away, and, we built this beautiful life. We have our house, our bills are paid for, we are set for retirement. Like, what are you doing? You're blowing up your whole house, your whole life for this woman that you're having an affair with. Well, I'm in love. I love her. And I'm like, and I told him, I said, well, our marriage can't compete with new love. I get it. New love is exciting and fun, but you're a married man. You made a commitment. We said vows. Like, what are you doing? This isn't the man I married. And he's like, well, maybe I just didn't love you enough to stay faithful. That was one of the things he said to me that would just hurt. But I wanted to fix it, and I begged and begged and begged, and he basically walked over me, laying on the floor to leave the house so he could go back to her. And other people saw them at an event later that day like nothing had happened. Everything was fine. They were together. So they were very public, before that, but after, he moved in with her, they went public immediately that day. And,
Mhm.
it was I had to block him on social media because they were posting everything, and it was just disgusting. I couldn't see it anymore. It was just too hurtful. I would send him messages like, "You're still married, so is she." Like, "You're posting all this, stuff on," like, how what do you think this looks like to the world? Like,
Like
2 cheaters.
teenagers. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys are 2 cheaters, and you're posting to the world about how much you're in love with each other, but you're still married to other people, you know? So I and then came all the expensive trips and, they were jet setting around like they were, this big power couple. Um, so the divorce took about a year, and then after the divorce, they bought their mansion, this humongous 6-bedroom, 6-bath house for the 2 of them, and, she's got a 4-carat diamond ring on her hand, a brand new car, so they're close to he went from debt-free to almost $1,000,000 in debt, within a year of our divorce, and, his he, karma's catching up, but, it's gonna take a while longer, but, during the entire process, it was I didn't leave the house for 4 months after he left me. It was pretty brutal. I would have groceries delivered. I didn't wanna talk the only people I would talk to would my mother would come and stay with me for a while. My brother was, here as my support. My sister, lives out of state, so I would talk to her and a couple of my girlfriends, but I kept my circle really tight. And I mean, I finally started going, "Okay, I've gotta at least go to the grocery store. I can do this." So I would get dressed and go to the grocery store, and I'd cry all the way there, and I'd cry all the way home, but in the grocery store, I held it together. So I started with little baby steps of trying to get back into society because my when your whole world blows up like that, like, your sense of reality is gone. Like, who do you trust? Like, I didn't feel like I could leave my house and be safe. My safety net was gone, and he was my safety net. Um, it was hard. And one of my girlfriends, that she was actually in my wedding, finally reached out, and we met for dinner one night and talked about it. And she slowly but surely got me to go out. She's like, "Well, let's go see this band at this park down the street." Okay, I'll go with you. So she brought me back to life, and I'll be forever grateful for her. And it was still hard. I mean, I was still dealing with it, but I was trying to get myself out of the house so I could start getting some safety back in myself and feel confident and just like, I'm going to be okay. I mean, at that point, my motto was fake it till you make it. And that began
Mhm.
my summer of yes. So that was the summer that if somebody asked me to do something, I'm going to say yes, whether I feel like it or not, because it would just, it gets your mind off of thinking about it constantly and wondering. Um, so I met someone that summer and we started dating, and that was way too soon. I wasn't even divorced yet. It was a toxic relationship, but I think that part of me felt safe to jump back into that wife role, so to say, because he was very demanding, and it was not a good relationship. It was toxic. So I caution, wait, wait, just wait, don't jump in. Um, but I jumped into this relationship with him because it felt comfortable to have someone else there. Um, to help with things around the house. It's a lot to take care of a house by yourself when you're used to having the help. And he helped,
Mhm.
but on the emotional level, just not a very supportive partner. And I learned a lot from the relationship, I will say that. And I also made a lot of new friends and met some wonderful people through the relationship. So that would be the best things that came out of it. And I definitely realized what my worth is and what I will and won't accept from a man in the future. So it did help me in my healing journey, um, quite a bit. And I mean, I'm in a great place now. Um, but the in the 4 years, there's been a lot of ups and downs. I would get so many breadcrumbs from Bob. About 5 months after he left me, he was messaging me one night, how much he missed me and he loved me, and he missed everything. He missed our animals. He missed our pets. He missed our house. He missed the backyard. He missed everything about me. And I mean, at that point, if he would have came home, thank God he didn't. I probably would have let him come home, and it would have been an epic fail. Because he's still deep in it. But that went on for probably the last 3 years. I haven't received anything in probably 9 months. So it's been a while. Um, so I don't know if it's going to happen again, but it's hard to resist those breadcrumbs when they come because you still care about the person you were married to, but they're not that person anymore. I mean, that's the hardest thing to realize is that's not your safety anymore. That's not your safe space. They are the only reason they're reaching out and breadcrumbing you is for their own to appease something in them. It's for them. It's not for us. And it's a hard pill
Right.
because when you think, oh, they're finally thinking about me. They still love me. No, no, they're just reaching out to appease something they're missing, and that's all it is. But
I think they call it anchor checking.
yeah, he anchored checks a lot. He hasn't in a while, but I would not be surprised if it comes again. But I've gotten a lot better in dealing with those anchor checks. Now, if he does it, I don't think I would respond at this point. Um, he's done so much damage, you know. It-
And the Bob that you see around now, is he different from the Bob you were married to?
um, well, he's not. He was always such a happy, fun, vibrant man when we were married. Like he was the life of the party. He was always positive. He'd read books on positivity, and he what I thought was a good person. He always if I had problems, I could go to him and he would help me or he'd give me the solution or he'd cheer me up, whatever he could do. The last time I talked to him, which was about a week or 2 ago concerning some financial matters, he sounded defeated. He did not sound upbeat or positive. He sounded horrible, and I even asked him, "Are you okay? Is your mom okay? You don't sound right." And he just said, I gotta do something about all the debt I'm in," which I knew was gonna catch up with him. I mean, who goes into $1,000,000 in debt in your 50s? What are you thinking? Oh, but I mean, I know we talk a lot about childhood trauma and, family of origin, and he has quite a bit childhood trauma. Um, uh, he never knew his real father. I think that he knew who he was, but there was never any relationship there. He was pretty much abandoned by him. He was adopted by his adoptive father, and that man was, an alcoholic also and a womanizer. So, that marriage ended, um, and I know that was traumatizing to him, and these were things we had talked about over the years. I mean, we were together 23 years. But so I thought that he was dealing with it, and, I come from a very strong family. My parents have been married 61 years now, I believe it is, and my mom and dad loved him. So, he was the favorite uncle. He my dad loved him like a son. Um, so he got a lot of love from my family, and he walked away from it all for this woman who is just horrible. Oh, but I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything we can do. It's not our fault that what happened to us is not our fault. I think they would go through this no matter who they're married to. You know, you could be a supermodel and they're going to do it to you. It doesn't matter what we look like, how much we love them. What they're doing is all about them. It's not about us. Um, but
Yeah.
I mean, I have done a
Well,
lot of
and just like yeah, there are the supermodels and celebrities that it's happened to. I mean, you know,
right,
um, Ben Affleck's wife, Jennifer Garner, I mean, Sandra Bullock. I mean, just yeah, it just these poor folks, male and female, that have, that fall into the midlife crisis. It's
right.
horrible.
And I really think that Skankalicious was going through her own. After my husband left me, I did get in contact with her husband. And funny thing is I couldn't get in contact with him, so my sister contacted him through Facebook Messenger and got his phone number or got my phone number to him. And so we finally got in contact and come to find out she went into his Facebook and blocked me so he I couldn't find him on Facebook. And she also blocked his phone number from his phone, so, um, he had to call so when my sister sent him my phone number, he called me, but I couldn't ever call him, so he ended up fixing that, but, we talked that Saturday that I went to find him at her apartment. We talked for 3, 4 hours that night, and I actually missed him about 5 minutes at that house because he was there that morning too. And, he saw the truck there, and they were supposed to go to counseling that morning, and she didn't show up, and that's why he was there. Yeah. So, we had a long conversation just about what was going on and, uh, filled each other in with what we both knew, and it was just shocking, like, he he knew that the marriage was in trouble. I mean, she moved out, and she did it while he was out of town. But they were still, seeing each other and going to counseling and trying to get the marriage to work, and I remember making a comment to Bob before he had left me, like, "Why can't you leave her alone? Maybe she's trying to work it out with her husband. Did you ever think of that you're hurting them too by pursuing this relationship with this other married woman?" I'm like, "But they were in love. They were in love." But was it limerence? I don't know. Infatuation for sure. I mean, the look on his face when I'd catch him thinking about her was just he was off in La La Land. I mean, when I think about it now, it's funny. It's not, it wasn't funny when it happened, but now I'm just like, how pathetic was that, you know? Um, but it's hard. It takes you a long time to come to terms with looking at what happened and realizing I didn't deserve that. Like, I was a good wife. I went to work every day. I kept our house clean. I cooked dinner. You know, we were a team, and like, you blindsided me and then you abandoned me. It's a painful thing to go through, and it's a long journey, and it destroys your trust in human beings. I mean, um, it destroys your trust in people. It destroys the thought that you had about the world around you, and you question your safety and your sanity and your whole life. And it's such a horrible journey, but um, I got involved with some great therapists that helped me really dig in and just work it out. My last therapist had me do one of the most therapeutic things I ever did, and I recommend this to everyone, is to write a F off letter to your ex-husband. And it doesn't have to be in order. It can just be random thoughts and whatever. You put whatever you want in that letter. And granted, I never sent it. You're not supposed to send it. Don't send it. But it was very therapeutic. And I'll tell you what, I added on to that. I
Did you
kept
say
adding.
6 pages?
It was probably 6 pages.
'Cause
Um,
yeah, it's important to know, like, to remind yourself why you wouldn't go back, you know?
right, right. And I mean, I wanted him back for a very long time after he left. I wanted him back. And I'm like, if he just comes home, we
Mhm.
can fix this. You know, we were special. We had a special marriage. We were the special ones. And we weren't. It wasn't special. Um, it wasn't how it's supposed to be. And when you step back, when you're detached from it and you start looking back on the marriage and you can see the flaws. Did I enable him to be an alcoholic? Possibly. So I looked at myself too, and what parts I played in the marriage. Um, I think I mean, like I said, I know I was a good wife. I loved him completely. And I mean, I was married. I was married for life. We said vows in front of God and our families, and that's how I was raised. Um, but I think I enabled him to drink as much as he did, and I tried to, hey, you're drinking a lot lately. You gotta pull it back a little bit, but he's completely gone off the rails with drinking now from the things my friends still tell me. It's gotten worse. So it's only a matter of time before that catches up to him. So, a mutual friend we have was over at my house doing some work for me and was giving me an update on what's going on with Bob. And he he hangs in the same circles with Bob, and they were at a bowling tournament together, and my friend received a topless photo from the bathroom of the bowling alley that they're at of Bob's Skankalicious. So sounds like there's trouble in paradise already. Um, and he and Bob is also his alcoholism is just going over the top. They found him passed out in a bathroom at a bowling alley, and he did not want to stop and stayed there because all of his friends were there, and he had to be there. But I think the my friend also said that last year they were very close and tight at the hip and always right next to each other and lovey-dovey. And he's like, this year when they come in to bowling, they're on opposite sides of the lanes, and she looks pissed off and he looks pissed off. And he's like, you can tell there's trouble in paradise that they are not happy. Um, they did, they have planned their wedding for, 2026 in July at a very expensive resort in Mexico. My friend said it was he said it was nobody really wanted to go because they picked such an expensive resort that no one can afford to go. So that'll be interesting to see if they make it there. But yeah, so it sounds like she's looking for another affair partner.
Wow.
So
So they are according to him, they were super in love,
yeah,
and Now she's sending topless photos to his friends,
Yeah,
photos of herself,
of herself.
of
So
herself.
she's
Wow.
looking for another man. Yeah.
I so
Um, I don't yeah, I you can't make this stuff up.
oh, for sure.
They were so in love and they had to destroy 23 years of marriage with their with each of their spouses because they were just in so much in love that that was the only thing that was going to work. So, yeah, karma's finally coming back around, but I mean, I
And
hope they stay together because they really do deserve each other.
I guess so. Uh,
Mm.
well, at least they do have some sports in common.
Yeah, yeah. But
And
I
her
mean,
ex, is he doing okay?
he is actually remarried to a wonderful girl. I have not met her, but I have talked to him a few times over the last few years. And every time I talk to him, he's just beaming and happy. And so a happy ending for him as well. And he deserves it because he
Yay.
just a sweetheart of a man. Um, I don't understand why you would trade somebody like that in because he didn't deserve that. He was such a good man. But one thing with, you know, I was thinking about this the other day about the all of the stuff that goes on between Bob and Skankalicious, and I mean, imagine living your life like that, always hiding behind a corner or a text or secrets. I mean, imagine living your whole life like that. Everything's hidden. Nobody really knows the real you. And I can't imagine that because I am at the point where I feel so much freedom and I have no guilt in my life. And I feel like my future is going to be incredible. Um, I'm going to be able to share myself wholly with a man and a partner in life and not have to have all of these I can't I don't understand how they can live like that because to have the freedom to start something that's clean and happy and true, like there's not a the feeling to be able to do that is so awesome and pure that I can't imagine life being different. And for them, their lives are never going to be that way. They're never going to have this feeling of joy inside of them and this happiness. And I was always afraid in the beginning that he took that away from me. Through all of this, he took my joy and he took my happiness, but he didn't. And I found it again, and it takes a while to get there. But man, when you feel it, you feel it. And think of the
You
birds.
know, that's really good you said that because I remember feeling that way too, and for our people that are new to this and might have just got a bomb drop, that's so important. That's just like your joy and happiness, it comes from within. It doesn't
Yes,
come from your partner, you know? I mean, it's
exactly.
great when you have a great partner and they can add to your life, but
Right.
you know what? If that joy and happiness doesn't come from within, you're never gonna find it, you know? And
Exactly.
that thing about being authentic, that is so important to live an
Right.
authentic life, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, I can't imagine the whole not being authentic, ugh, you
Yeah,
know?
they could never there's always gonna be secrets and lies. And and another, coming out of this, like, it's all about mindset too. You gotta feed yourself positivity. You gotta talk to yourself the way you wanna be talked to, you know? With my fitness journey, I mean, I've been on a fitness journey for a year now, and, it just kept telling myself, "I can do this, and I can go get stronger, and I can lift heavier," and whatever. But it's such you gotta get in this positive mindset, I deserve to be happy. I deserve to be loved the right way. I mean, I deserve a partner that's proud to be with me. I deserve someone that's not gonna lie to me. I deserve all these
Yep.
things, and we all deserve these things, and we can't let what they did define our future. We can't let them define us. We have to leave them behind. We have to we've outgrown them, and if they catch up, they catch up, but that's a lot to overcome for them. But for us, the sky's the limit.
I do wanna ask you about red flags.
Oh, okay. Absolutely. Red flags. Oh, geez. Well, when I'll go back to a red flag that came up early on, and I don't remember if we were married at this point or if we were engaged. This was back when computers were still the big junk top. They were the big pieces on the desk. Um, and I had
Yeah.
been gone to visit my sister for a week, and when I came home, I was on our computer doing something, and somehow I wandered upon a chat, and he was having a chat with somebody while I was gone about trying to get them to come to our house to have relations with him. And I yeah, so when he came home, I'm like, "What in the heck is this?" "Oh, I was just messing around. That's nothing serious, blah, 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 blah." And I was like, that was my first red I right there and then, I should have been like, "This is we're done. This is done. We're done."
Mhm.
'Cause I'll tell you what, that happens to me today. I'm done. Um, but I believed him. And, so I mean, we got married and whatnot. So we want, and I was, in my mid-30s when we got married. So at that time, I'm like, let's try to have children right away. Well, we weren't getting pregnant. We weren't getting pregnant. So, we went on, fertility drugs and everything, which, oh my God, those are horrible for your moods. Um, had one miscarriage, went off the fertility drugs, after that and ended up getting pregnant again. And, on my 40th birthday, we went in to, and at that point, I was turning 40, so it was pretty high risk, and, went in to have the first ultrasound at 10 weeks, and there was no heartbeat. So, they had scheduled the DNC for that evening because they did not think this one was gonna pass just because the way they had prepared to try to help the pregnancy hold and stay in. So they scheduled the DNC for that night, and, so he had an event that night that he had to be at, um, a bowling tournament or a bowling league, and he had to be there. And he dropped me off at the hospital to get my DNC and had his mother come and pick me up when it was done. So when I got home, he was on the couch already, half drunk. And yeah, so he enjoyed his evening while I was in the hospital having a DNC.
Was
That's right.
that actually your 40th birthday?
That was the day I turned 40. That was how I spent my day. And
Wow.
that's how it
On
happened.
on your 40th birthday, he already had a bowling thing planned.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Very, very what a great husband. I mean, and at that I don't even I remember just being
Oh,
so numb from this being my second miscarriage to because at that point,
yeah.
that day the doctor said, "You're done. You're not doing this anymore. You're not gonna have kids." I mean, so I was pretty numb that day, so the whole day was kind of a blur. So when he did that, I mean, I was just kind of oblivious to everything around me. Um So it didn't really hit me until a few years later that, I can't believe he freaking did and I never told my closest girlfriend, I never told her he did that. And we were talking recently, we were talking within the last 2 years. And I told her that, and looked at me and she said, "What? He did what? I never knew that." And that was 15 years ago. And she's like, "You never told me that." And I'm like, I probably didn't tell you because I was so embarrassed about what he did that he did that. That's probably why I never freaking told anybody about it. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I
You were
think
protecting him. You were protecting your
yeah,
reputation and everything. Hey, and his mom picks you up at the hospital. Did she have a did she say, "So sorry Bob, isn't here. So sorry he's bowling on your 40th." Is she, empathetic towards any of this?
um, she didn't say anything to me about that at all. I mean, she was upset because, he's an only child. That was her last chance at having a grandbaby. Um,
Ah, okay.
so she really, she was upset that it was happening. But when I did talk to her, I finally went to her, um, right before he left to go live with, Skankalicious. I went and talked to her about it, and, she's like, "He's not gonna do that. He loves you and blah, 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 and I'll talk to him," but he wouldn't talk to her either. Because I'd started telling more people about it thinking maybe this will help bring him back to reality because he was so detached from the world around him and reality that I'm like, I got to try to pull him back in here. And nothing mattered. Best friends talking to him, his mother talking to him, nothing mattered. That ship sailed. What the day the affair came to light was the day the marriage was over, and I should have had him leave the house on that day because it would have brought me faster healing. Honestly, because having him home for those 6 months was torture. That was pure torture. Watching him sit there and daydream about another woman right in front of me was just disgusting. And then when he'd get drunk, he'd get pretty boisterous about what a great person she is, and she's so beautiful and wonderful, and everything is perfect about her. It was just so like the things he would say to me about her. Um, there was a few nights that I got called her name in the bedroom. Um, that was painful. He'd say, "I love you," and it was not my name. And I would get up and I would go sleep in the basement, and the next day he'd be apologizing up and down, and, it got bad. He should have left right away. I should have thrown him out right away. But I wanted at that point, I wanted to save the marriage, but it's I think once this happens, I don't think the marriage can be saved at that point. I think that that marriage is over. The marriage you knew was over. It's never gonna be the same. I lost respect for this man. I don't feel safe with him anymore. I mean, I was having panic attacks, anxiety attacks. Like if his car I would drive home from work and I always drove past his office. If his car wasn't there, I'd have panic attacks and I'd call and text and if he wasn't answering right away. It was I mean, I lost 30 pounds in about 2 months. I don't even think it took me 2 months, but I dropped and 30 pounds instantly because I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't it was horrible. It I it's
It
a
is
horrible
horrible.
thing to
Yeah,
put someone through. When you think that, you're with the love of your life and then they put you through that, you see them in a different light when you come out the other side, for sure. That's not how love should be. That's not that's not love. And I don't think he knows what real love is, and I don't think he ever will know what real love is. He's chasing dreams and he's chasing fantasies um, and he'll never be happy. Uh, the stories I've heard from friends after everything came out that he has cheated. This was not the first time that he cheated. There have been prostitutes. There have been girls in my basement that he would invite over when I was sleeping. There have been strippers. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
wait. You found out that while you were asleep upstairs, your husband was entertaining girls in your basement?
Yes. Yes. And I
Is
remember
this was this a one-time thing or
I don't know, but I did have someone tell me that he was having relations with a woman in my basement while I was sleeping upstairs.
oh my god.
Yeah, and I remember one night that I thought I heard a woman's voice in the basement. When I went down there, oh, it was the TV. So, I gotta think she must have
Oh, was
hiding
that his
down in the basement
yeah,
somewhere.
was that his man cave
Yeah.
kind of thing?
Yeah, and there was an exit to
Okay.
the garage so that he could sneak him in and out, without me knowing. Is it true? At this point, I believe it, because the person that told me it didn't have
Mhm,
anything to gain, and I don't think he was lying to
right.
me, but, he wasn't the only person to come and tell me stories of, he was with this person or that person, he propositioned so, he definitely was this was not the first time that he was cheating on me. And of course, he denies it. I mean, when I would find this stuff out, I would confront him on it and be like, "So you did this? You cheated here?" "No, I never did that. I never touched that person." And he was not picky about who he was cheating with. I mean, it's like he was away for a trip with friends, and the one friend that told me about the girl in the basement said that he had that Bob had gotten off the elevator with 2 women in tow, and my friend said, "Where are you going?" "Back to my room." And there he goes with the 2 women in tow. And there's more stories that I've heard. Um, they're all the same, they all the same. So that
Wow.
also.
You know what? I am so glad you got disconnected from that relationship because really, Janie, I mean, you are beautiful and smart and amazing. And I mean, you're like a 12 on a scale of 1 to 10. And so there should be a guy out there that, will be awesome that you can end up with, if you're willing to, if you want to end up with somebody. But
Well,
seriously, I mean, yeah, you're obviously way out of his league, you know?
well, yeah, and, I mean, I never felt like that with him, but, now looking back in the marriage, I should have never married him. I'm glad I did.
Hmm.
I mean, we had a good life. We had, I thought we had a good life. I mean, I have good memories, and I'm not gonna let.
Well, yeah, you were fed a certain story,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he told me a great
you
story,
know?
but I mean, we had a good
He was like
life.
a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Absolutely. We went on some very nice trips through his company, through his work. I met some good people. Unfortunately, I lost a lot of friends after the marriage ended because, uh, they all went with him because why, I don't know, but I don't think those were real friends in the first place. Um
Mhm.
because I surely did not deserve what happened, and for them to abandon me also was a hard thing to swallow, but the people that meant something to me and I know are true friends, they stayed. So you find out who your true friends are when you go through something like this for sure, and, but you gotta really, the best thing you can do is detach and move on. Maybe they catch up to you someday, maybe they don't, but if they do, you're gonna be in a completely different place in your life, and you're gonna be able to look at it through you you're not looking at them through those rose-tinted glasses anymore. You see them for who they are, and I think
Yep.
that's the hardest pill for us to swallow is that's truly who my ex-husband is. He is not a good person. He never was a good person. He was a good actor,
Aw.
and, it's a hard pill to swallow, but man, I I don't know. If I had to do it all over again, would I still choose the same partner? I don't know. I was young. I don't wanna
Mhm.
blame it on being young and and naive, but, maybe I was
Well,
young and
and it's
naive.
true. On one side hand, you said you guys were best friends and you do still talk and, you know, that's, obviously you see the best in him.
Yeah, I mean, I still think he's got a chance of I don't know how he's gonna crawl out of the debt, um, but I mean, I would never, never let him back into my life, but I still care about the man, and if he needed someone to talk to, I would talk to him, but that's where it would end. I would never let him back in my life because I will never let another man treat me like that again. No one deserves to be treated that way. No one. There's no excuse for making that choice to try to destroy someone over. I mean, why not get the divorce and then go date your affair partner? Why have the affair? Why do all that? Why? We'll never know the answers to those things. Only they know the answer, but those are the questions that, keep us up at night. We're like, "Well, why did they do this to me? Wasn't I enough?" No, it's not about us at all. We are enough, and that's what matters.
Well, a lot of that behavior when he moved out and the things he said, those were straight page 4 and page 7 of the MLC handbook, you know? So, they can't. They are so excited to get out of the house and start their new life, and that immediate thing of going online and being in love and, the faster they erase the past, the better for them. You know what I mean? That's so typical. So, yeah, it's just so typical. It doesn't make sense at all.
Okay.
Hey, you mentioned something on, and I wondered if you realize now, your intuition at one point early on, before you guys got married, it was something that happened and
Yeah.
you had that
So
intuition feeling.
yeah.
The computer.
Yeah.
Um, do you find that you listen to your inner voice, your little quiet voice, your intuition more?
That's funny because so I started dating the summer after my husband left me, so before the divorce. And,
Mhm. The summer,
so
yes.
yeah. So I was still married, but I met this guy and he had a motorcycle and I'd never been on motorcycles before. So I was like, okay. And it just kind of happened really fast. The guy, he came in and he love bombed me, and it was just like all this attention, and he like totally just um was trying to tie me down right away. And my guts were screaming at me from day one, and I ignored them. You think after going through everything you went through, you wouldn't ignore them, and I ignored them, and I kept pushing those down because I just was like, "Well, I want someone in my life. I wanna have someone to hang out with and do things with, and I wanna feel connection again." So I pushed all of these gut instincts down for so long, and I started dating this guy, and, it was not a good it started out like I said, with the love bombing and tons of every red flag you could possibly think of, my god. Um, and, we dated for a few years, and that's over now, but I will say that at least I learned something more from that relationship, and I gained some wonderful friends. I've met a lot of people in my age group, in my I'm in my 50s, and, I've talked to so many people over the last 3 years about things that they've been through, and you find a lot of similarities, unfortunately, um, in this age group of
Mhm.
kind of been through similar situations. A lot of my friends have been through, cheating husbands, cheating wives, and worse. So you find your group, you find your troop, and those are the people that you're going to have friendships with for the rest of your life. But going forward, yeah, my gut instincts, I will never, never, never stifle my instincts again. When that inner voice starts peaking up, you got to listen to it because that means something's wrong. And I don't know if it's God talking to you or the universe, but it's there. It's there for a reason because something inside of you is putting up that defense mechanism that something is wrong and you need to address it. Um, I addressed numerous things with the gentleman I was dating, but it never went anywhere. I think he had some narcissistic tendencies, very selfish, self-centered guy. It um, he was nice enough to everyone else, and he wasn't a horrible person, but it was not a good fit for us. So, another learning experience. I'm done with learning experiences at 55. Please, to the universe, please. I'm done. Uh, but I but I have just recently started dating another wonderful man. It's very new. It's only been about 4 weeks. And he is a complete gentleman. He's very handsome, I must say. So um, we're just going to take things very slow and get to know each other and see where it goes. And who knows? Who knows what the future holds? But I think everyone needs to keep going forward and fake it till you make it. And there's life after MLC. There's life after divorce. There's life after this horrible journey that we've been on. It's hard to get there and it takes time, but you gotta really fake it till you make it, I guess is the best way I can say. Um,
Mhm.
because you can be happy again. And you gotta dig deep and you gotta explore the marriage for what it was. Take off the rose colored glasses. I know it's hard to hear when you're first in it because you want them back so bad. You want that marriage back, but you gotta grieve. The marriage is over and you gotta let it go and you gotta grieve. It's there are success stories out there. They're few and far. I mean, I'm not against reconciliation, but I know it's not for me, and it took me a long time to come to that realization too. So, it's life is quite a freaking journey, isn't it?
Mhm. Well, uh, okay, let me just check my notes.
Yeah, me too.
Um, what did your, did you have a hard time finding folks that understood the situation? Like what you guys were going through?
with counselors, with therapists, or
No, with your friends, when you would describe, his behavior with the MLC. I guess yours was the vanisher, so maybe, you know.
no, because when I would talk to friends that knew us, they would all tell me, "Well, I talked to him and Bob seems just fine. He seems like himself." He put on a mask for everyone. Um, he was very much about maintaining his image. I'm not sure what
Mhm.
I haven't no one's ever come to me and said, "Oh, he said you were blah, blah, blah." The only thing that he told me when he left the marriage was, "You're boring. I want a different life." And I'm like, "We've been together 23 years, you know, what are we supposed to do? Go partying every ni I mean, he wanted to go out drinking and partying all the time. I'm like, "We're old. We're in our 50s. Like, let's go to dinner. How about that?" You know, but he wanted this exciting life that the affair was bringing in, and that was his one of his excuses. "You're boring." But after he left, he did everything he could to maintain his image. Um, he had a very successful job when he left, and the money, I think, helped the affair because I think everything went to his head, and he felt like he was untouchable because he was making such good money. But since that now his pay has got cut in half and now he's hurting for money. So that sure came full circle for him. Um, but I, a lot of people just when I would talk to them, they'd be like, "We don't know what he's thinking." I mean, they see her and they're like, she's disgusting. What is he thinking? He left you for her." And I'm like, hence the name Skankalicious. I don't she's not a nice person and people don't like her. So yeah, I
Oh, so a little affair down, I guess.
yeah, yeah, so a lot of people were kinda shocked that, that's what he chose to leave me for and give up his life for. A
Mhm.
lot of people, you know, we had a lot of people thought we had a good life, so there was some shock in our friends. There are some of our friends that
Well, now
don't
he's in debt.
yeah, 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 he's karma is starting to, rear its ugly head for him. Um And I'd like to say I feel sorry for him, but, these are all things that I told him were gonna happen when he left.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I hate to
Tried
say it.
to rationalize and warn him, and
Yeah, and there's no rationalizing with them. They're so in love at that point that life
yeah.
is beautiful for them, and nothing bad's ever gonna happen because they're with their true love. Oh,
Yeah.
it
Soulmate, actually.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, teenagers and heat, but
so so Janie, do you feel, so tell us about some things you've noticed now about yourself. It's been a few years. Do you feel like there's a stronger you now, or, you know, do you have
I
new
do.
hobbies, interests, pas
Um,
chasing new passions and dreams?
well, at the time that when he left me, I was unemployed and I had just come to the end of a pretty good career that I had. Um, and I was able to take a job with a company that allows me to work from home and I love it. It's given me so much freedom in my life. I've become obsessed with fitness and lifting weights and I'm in the best shape of my life. Call it a revenge body, call it what you want, but my God, I haven't looked this good since I was 21 years old, um, minus the wrinkles.
But
But
wait, does it have something to do with your job?
well, because I work from home, it gives me time to, I don't have that
Oh,
commute
to work
time.
out.
Yeah, so it
Oh,
just
god.
it just it feels like I have so much because I punch in, I punch out.
You have
I'm
time for you.
yeah, so I've got more time for me, and, so I get workouts in every day and eating healthy and planning my meals, and, um, I've really come to enjoy my space and making the house my own. I've thought about selling it, um, because at first it held too many memories, and I haven't really changed it that much, but it's mine now. It's my house, and, I like it, and who knows what the future holds. I don't know where I'm gonna be, so for now, I'm gonna stay right here and enjoy my space and, um, just continue living. As far as me, I think that I'm finally starting to become this positive person, um, and I feel more upbeat and positive and happy. And I remember in the marriage, I hated my job and I hated the commute to work. And um, when I look at myself, there's a lot of things that I was unhappy about, but I stuffed it all down. I don't stuff stuff down anymore. If something bothers me, I speak up. I'm not afraid to tell somebody that what I need from them. If that conversation arises, I find myself being pretty blatantly honest with people now, whether they like it or not, but yeah, and it feels good. It's freeing, very freeing when you can finally you don't have to oh, how can I say this? There are so many things I buried to protect my husband's reputation, and I don't have to do that for anyone anymore. I feel a freedom in my life now, and I feel light. I feel like there's this weight that's just gone out of me. Letting go of the ex-husband, letting go of the past, it lightens you in a way that I can't explain. But I've felt this has really started within the last probably 3 months where I've really gotten to the point of this feeling of just feeling so light and unburdened by everything that has happened. And I actually, on one of the conversations I had with Bob, I did tell him, I said, I actually forgive you. I'm in a really good place and I forgive you. And he, of course, thought I was forgiving him for him. I was doing it for me. And I think the act of saying that to him was like that stepping point of like total release of the past. And
Mhm.
such a freeing feeling when you can finally go, I'm going to be okay without him. I'm going to be just fine. And my life's going to keep going and I'm going to make it what I want. To to be determined at this point, but we'll see.
And our lives are always to be determined. Married, single, divorced, whatever, you know? And, so you've really said a lot of little gemstones there, and so, any other final words of wisdom for somebody new that's going through this in the beginning? I mean, to see that where you are now, and I remember knowing you through, group counseling and stuff when it was you were
Oh,
not at the,
no. Oh
point
my
you
gosh.
are now. Myself too.
Yeah. When you first, it's so hard to see the light through the forest, and it's a journey. It's a long journey. Um, get in counseling, um, talk to friends, try to I mean, I can remember the days calling my sister, having anxiety attacks. I was on some anxiety medication for a little while, and that helped me when it got really bad. I know how hard it can be, but reach out to people in the group because someone's going to be in there to catch you and help you through it. So there's moments where you feel like you're not going to make it. You're going to make it. Um, if it's a minute at a time, an hour at a time, a day at a time, you'll get there. It's a journey, but, um, I did a lot of reading. I did a lot of meditation. Um, I can't the therapist I it takes a while to find a good therapist. When you find a good one, they are a godsend. But being in the group and reading the stories and, um, trying as hard as you can to detach, not accepting those breadcrumbs. I know we talk about no contact a lot, and sometimes that's possible, sometimes it's not. If you have children, I I don't know how I would have done this if we would have had children together. So I that to me is, unbelievable. I don't know how we can deal with that, but you just gotta get up each day and keep going and remind yourself that you're worth it. We have one life to live, and we can't I spent a long time grieving the marriage and grieving the man that I knew. Um, but you know what? We have one life to live and we can't redo it. We can't change the past. The only thing we can do is keep moving forward and find out what else is out there for us. And there's good men out there. There's a happy life somewhere out there. We got to go find it. You got to make it happen. But you'll get through it. It takes time. It takes time.
Yep. Okay. Well, you know what? I have to say I'm glad Bob messed up there and got a little sick because, it really opened the door for you to be let out of that cage so that you could, find a whole new future that
Yeah,
I think is gonna be a lot more fulfilling than, you know,
it's
than
looking
before.
pretty promising right
So,
now. So,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm excited about the future now. I never
Um,
thought I could say that, but, yeah, I'm excited about my future
and
now.
summer is almost here, so it's gonna be another summer of yes, and actually, you know what? I wanna say that I found myself, I did the same. Everything was yes. Yes, I'm doing, no matter the season. I live in a very yes mode now,
Yeah,
and I really embrace that, you know?
yeah. Yeah, I did some crazy stuff that summer, but and I didn't want to. I wanted to stay curled up on my couch with my cats and watch TV, and I did not, but I was like, my girlfriend, became my partner in crime that summer, and anytime she asked me to do something, yes. That was my answer. It didn't matter if I was tired, if I was sad, whatever, I put on my makeup, and I looked fabulous, and I went out that door, and that's what started I can honestly say that's what started my healing journey. Now, it was a bumpy road, and I made mistakes along the way, but we're human. We're gonna make mistakes. Um, but yeah, try it. Try the summer of yes.
Oh,
So that's
and
what
you're
I'm gonna
still
do
in
here
that mode of
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
what? What?
I'm definitely in the yes mode this year too. This summer is gonna be
Good,
fab.
good.
It's gonna be another summer of yes, I think. But now I'm
Oh,
willing now I want to.
alrighty. Right. She doesn't have to drag you off the couch.
Right,
The cats
right.
are like, "Is mom ever gonna be home?"
That's gonna be this summer, yep. Yep, for sure. So,
Aw,
but yeah, I mean,
awesome.
there's we're not the only ones that there's so many unfortunately, there's a lot of us that have all gone through it, and meeting the people that I've met in the last 3 years, I've met a lot of people that have been through this and even things that are worse than my story. Um, and those are that's your tribe. Those are the people that you're gonna find your common ground with, and you know what? They're gonna be your true friends going forward. They're gonna be people you're
For
taking
life.
yeah, for the rest of your life because
Yeah,
when you find them, you know, you know when you found your tribe because you start talking and then all of a sudden you realize you went through it too and you went through it and oh my god it's unfortunately it's a lot more common than we think and that's sad. I don't know what's going on with the world today but it's horrible but I mean you gotta find your happiness out there. You gotta let the past go.
yep. And, it's been going on, I guess, for centuries. We
Yep.
didn't realize as much and, still going on, and it probably will for a long time, and at least, uh, at least we're proof that people can get through it and thrive, you know?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
So,
Yep. There is life out there,
alright,
but just hang in there,
I'm gonna
hang in.
sign us off. So, yeah, all you viewers, you heard listeners, you heard what Janie said, just hang in there and have your summer of yes this year. So, Uh, thanks for joining us today. And yeah, just think positive, follow your intuition, and have the summer of yes. All right.
So
Thanks again, you guys, for tuning into Midlife Crisis Bomb Drop and Beyond. We have passed over 1,000 downloads. We have hundreds of subscribers, if not over 1,000 or 2,000 already. And so you don't miss an episode, be sure to like or subscribe. So I just want to say thank you. How grateful I am for every single one of you that's listening and that has taken the time to be interviewed and appear on the show. I have a waiting list of people I'm trying to get to, so hang in there. We will get to you. Um, I really appreciate it, and I'm so glad to hear that everybody is enjoying the show so much. And I know it provides a lot of support. So thank you so much for that. And if you've been through a midlife crisis or been impacted by someone else's and you want to share your story, I'd love to hear from you. Please reach out to me, Trina Laird at gmail.com. You can also find me on Facebook at MLC Bomb Drop or Instagram. MLC Bomb Drop. So reach out however you like. Your voice matters. Your story could be the one that helps someone else feel seen, heard, and understood. Until next time, take care and keep standing in your truth. Hey, do you think maybe you're having a midlife crisis? Do you think somebody close to you is having a midlife crisis? Well, check out the 2-minute quiz at midlifecrisismarriageadvocate.com. Go check it out. It's free. You can answer a few questions and it'll give you a little insight. So again, it's midlifecrisismarriageadvocate.com.